What's up, War Room? Welcome back. Joe and Connor here to answer all your week one training camp Discord questions. If you're new to War Room, we do this every single week. Dump a bunch of questions in the Discord. We answer them. Sometimes we go on long-winded discussions about nice things we didn't get to cover in the main pod. We had a nice, healthy 40-minute main pod this week. Content's flowing. CR, how we feeling?
Good. Training camp preview in the books. Always fun. Training camp preview, we hand out or we predict the David Clowney Award winner. We'll hand it out at the end of training camp. We play the game of how many reps will the quarterback actually play. We play all the hits every year, but it's always different when we have a new coach, a new regime. There's sometimes a little more juice around camp because you have an eye on everything that they want to do differently.
Yeah, it's a new energy. It's a new style of practice. It's kind of just new everything. And also just even how the team carries himself and like disseminates information around practice. It's going to be a whole new feel. It was a long time with Bobby Saleh and Joe Douglas, so we're ready for something different.
Really, it's crazy because
I've said this half a decade of our lives.
I've said this before during the Gase years, especially the second Gase year, was the most attached I've ever felt from the team. I mean, I'll go longer on it one day, but easily the most attached I've been as fan covering the team, literally everything. And it doesn't feel that long ago, but man, Saleh and Douglas were here for half a decade.
Forever. I mean, really, we concurrently almost founded Badlands. This Gase is like the origin story for Badlands. Without Gase, there's no Badlands. I don't think we get pushed to doing it without him.
He does get credit. He shows up on the credits as a borderline founding father.
He can't come to the live show though. Sorry, he's not invited yet. Maybe 5 years from now, but not yet. It's too soon. Wound's too fresh. All right, and Cava. What are the chances Wilkes can untap both Watts and LT3, seeing as they were summer darlings last year and really didn't do much of anything under Saleh and Ulbrich? God, we need this to happen. So let's reset our excitement on these dudes. And what is there hope here? Is there a glimmer?
Yeah. So for me, how I always answer these questions, or partially how, is what did I think of them as a prospect, right? And I thought, obviously, both were draftable. Leonard Taylor, obviously, was somebody that we've gone through this a million times. Before his final season, because he went off his sophomore tape, it was like, this is someone that could be a first-rounder one day. And that junior year didn't go the way he hoped, although there was still flashes. And then he declared anyway, and he did not have a great draft process. And it was kind of like, okay, Leonard Taylor went from maybe a first-rounder. Then after that season, all right, a day 2 developmental D-line with a lot of high ceiling. Then after the draft process, it was like he might fall to the 5th, 6th round, then doesn't get drafted. So, and to be fair to Leonard Taylor, he had moments last summer where it was like
3 sacks last year too. Like he was on the stat sheet.
It was guys like that have this fall from grace as college players / prospects. They sink or swim in camp. They'll get to a camp, and as rookies, they're just so overwhelmed that the downward spiral increases so much and they're just out of the league in a year or two. The fact that he kind of swam a bit, he had some really nice moments and he looked athletic and he looked like the guy from his sophomore year rather than his junior year at the NFL, is a good sign for a developmental player. So I'm a big believer in him. You know, guys like Watson, McGregor that were also draftable and made the team last year, which is a big deal, and had moments last year, but no real memorable moments. They were kind of just along for the ride. You just got to see what ultimately happens with them with their development and growth. You hope they become, because they're such large power players, edge setters for a defense that needs edge setters and can do dirty work, and that alone would be a win. But if Leonard Taylor's work ethic is, kind of what we saw some glimpses of last year after a tough final college year, he's the guy that he's more talented than
the second most talented interior defensive lineman on the team.
Anyone not named Quinn Williams at D tackle, he's more talented than. Yep. That's as simple as it is. But talent in the NFL can only bring you so far.
All right. Next one. I'll bundle these two together. This one's from Fuge and from Andy. First from Fuge. Who are your early predictions for the David Clowney Award? You talked about your selection of Tyler Johnson on the pod. I'll talk about mine now. And then from Andy, with camp about to kick off, what are the top 3 to 5 stories you guys collectively are keeping your eye on? So for me, who I picked on the Clowney Award, everyone's picking receivers. I saw Will pick Brandon Smith. I like Brandon Smith. I'm not kind of into that too. I picked
Brandon Smith train has taken off. I see his name on Twitter all the time.
Summer of Brandon. He's going to solve the receiver issue. I picked Rashad Weaver, who
Nice.
is kind of just like a journeyman, but he's playing at a spot where there's going to be an opportunity. Had a really good spring. Our guy Zach seems to have a little bit of beat on him, maybe having some traction with the new coaching staff. Could see him having a nice summer, grabbing a roster spot, and maybe pushing for some early season playing time. Davis is another interesting one at linebacker, especially if they're going to use him at edge in some capacity to get after the quarterback. So I'm picking two defensive linemen, basically. So Dan would be proud of me. I'm not picking a receiver or a running back or a returner, which it always kind of ends up being. But you got to go off the – who was the dude last year? I think it was last year. He was an edge rusher that randomly was like a journeyman who had like a big summer and ended up making the team.
This
and
is
had
driving.
a couple – it got cut after like week 5.
I can't remember the name right now, but I do remember.
He was on the Falcons. Oh, Tack.
Tack McKinley.
That's it. Yes, there we go. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I know he was a Jeff Ulbrich guy. Like Ulbrich wanted to, I
made
believe,
the team and like.
Yeah, that's an Ulbrich guy and had moments. Man, if you were an edge pass rusher, you just go into a camp in a solid scheme.
Jacob Martin.
And you will flourish for sure.
Top storylines. I think it's going to be a lot about Glenn and Wilkes, Glenn and Engstrand, how they carry themselves, how they're
which is what they want.
Yeah.
Glenn does these things, like he speaks the way he speaks because he doesn't want the attention on the team. And that's I think a really, really good sign.
Yeah. So new attitude, new way of practicing, new coaching methods, new coaching staff. I don't think Fields is intentionally going to be a quiet story all summer. Usually you would kind of drift to the quarterback. There's going to be a lot of how bad do the Jets need to make a veteran addition at receiver? How bad do they need to make a veteran addition at the defensive line? I think I could see a guy like Thomas really flourishing at corner because Sauce isn't going to play a lot in the summer. Right. So he's going to be out there a lot. And you could already see, wow, he looks like a young Sauce Gardner out there. I haven't seen a guy like do that since Sauce Gardner's rookie year. You could literally see the tweets already. They're going to happen. So those are a couple guys and stories I'm watching. And as always, everyone stay healthy. That's all that matters, man. And don't mess around for long with the Titman Myers crap or with Chugs taking reps from Membu.
Yeah.
Just get the young, talented linemen out there and let them get as many reps together as possible.
I think that's a good call out. I think for me, I look at some things that are definitely not sexy or flashy, but are really important for this team. Does Ruckert just take a hold of tight end 2? And show he's just a average tight end in this league? That'd be a huge win. They're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. So, because if he doesn't, Stone Smart is a very niche player. Yep. It's not just now Stone Smart's in 12 personnel. He will be sometimes, but he will be to catch the ball. He's not on the line of scrimmage blocking. So that Ruckert is all of a sudden a very interesting storyline. I mean, obviously, we've talked about Josh Reynolds a lot, but just that pool of wide receivers as a whole, the floor that Tyler Johnson brings, can Arian Smith's speed help you accomplish what you want to do in terms of not just the field stretching, but the threat of the field stretching, where defenses carry him vertical and it opens up space underneath, or it helps with the run game, and he's got to be on the field to do that. Him being a little banged up in OTAs already, you got to stay healthy, right? So that'll be really important. Braylon Allen versus Isaiah Davis is a competition that I see nobody talk about, and I think it's very real. I think, honestly, which one is the David Montgomery of this offense? We know Breece Hall is Jahmyr Gibbs, or they want him to be, but who's going to lower the pads and do all the little things the right way? Pass protect, catch the ball. When I need 2 yards, can you get me 2 yards, right? So that's a really, really important competition between those two. And then this is something that you kind of enlightened me to with your roster prediction. What's the back end of the secondary roster going to look like? Do you keep JBC and Stiggers, and you kind of try to get some looks at these guys in a safety role where you don't have to keep Jarius Monroe as the fourth safety just because you have to have that, or someone like that? So I'm looking at just kind of how the depth is going to shake out. And I think the one that'll get the most coverage, of course, is just going to be whoever the defensive tackle is next to Quinnen, because this team got embarrassed by the run last year, and we're not sitting here. When you get embarrassed the season before, you usually do something in the offseason that goes, well, it's not going to be like last year because of this. We don't get on this podcast and do
don't
that
have that.
because we don't know. We don't know. We hope we're right. We hope coaching and scheme gets enough out of this. I don't want to say random, but this odd assortment of players.
It's pretty random. It's a pretty random collection of players.
It is an odd assortment of solutions. Yeah. So we kind of want to see how that transpires as well.
Underdog Fantasy. It's deep in best ball season. Promo code Badlands for a deposit match. All your pick'ems, all your best ball competitions. CR, it's the season. How you feeling about Underdog Best Ball?
Pretty good. You're starting to see the ADPs fly all over the place now. So I've been doing a couple more big-time best ball drafts to kind of just flow with the changes. You get the panic over guys starting camp on the pup list, and maybe you could take advantage of that. So post the start of training camp is a really good time to do another best ball draft and see how your roster changed from when you drafted in the spring.
Promo code Badlands at Underdog Fantasy.